Okay, this is a video on doing a firmware update to the Sungold Power SGH10048P, and I guess it'd be the same for the 800P model as well. I was having trouble with fault code 63. They sent me a firmware update, and it turned out to be a little bit more difficult to install than I anticipated, but a lot of that was my fault. But anyway, we got it going. I just thought I'd run through the process with you and perhaps save you some grief. First thing to do is check the page 6. Okay, and it's down here. You see it's 18.0.8. That's after I upgraded. It was 8.17 something before. So this seems to have fixed the error code 63 BMS undervoltage. Okay, so the first thing to do is I installed the IPower app. This you can get from the Sungold website. I'll put a link to it. It's Windows software. And the purpose of this isn't to go over the features of the software, but the reason I installed it was to, first of all, make sure the serial port was working. And also, I think installing this, it asked me if I wanted to install the COM port driver. So I told it yes. And, you know, the update as far as the serial port USB to serial adapter went, worked fine. I tried it on another computer, and that one, it said it couldn't find the driver. So I don't know if, you know, I didn't try doing a Windows update or, you know, go to the device manager and try to install that driver. But anyway, I go ahead and set this up just, you know, to make sure mainly the COM port works. That way you know you have the driver installed. There is an option here to firmware update. That just seems to shell out to the software that they sent me. I wouldn't use this to update. I'd use the software that they sent with the update. Okay, so let's and I guess while we're here, we can take a look at statistics. So there's day-by-day use. That was the 20th. That was a really cold night. We were having trouble, and the batteries weren't fully charged and everything. And what's this telling us exactly? The display on this PC is a little funny, too, or at least with the software. The resolution or the font size is set differently than I guess what it expects. But you know, so we were here. This was yesterday that we were here. It didn't get very cold. This was today. I was running the water pump. I have a pull out that when they were cutting the wood, they left this big ditch that filled up with water from their heavy equipment, and cattails came up there. So I was pumping water pretty much all day. Here we were here on Christmas Day. It wasn't cold, didn't really do anything. Same the day before. We were gone here. We had the heater set to 46 degrees, so it was a warm day. It pulled very little. I'm not sure what was going on here. Like I say, we were, you know, the batteries, we were trying to get the firmware update installed and everything and get all the batteries charging, and I can't remember exactly what was going there, but I know that I ran the batteries completely down one night when we were here. Plus, it was just, you know, brutal cold. Okay, so let's exit this. Okay, well, here we got another instance of it. Come on. I have the software saved on my NAS back home, but I put a copy of that folder here just so I'd have it locally. This is to PBMS tools. This is to dump. You can connect the computer to the battery. I might do an update on that video on that sometime. But here's the firmware update and the update software, and they send a documentation file. I took and I actually edited this some. I sent it to them. I don't know if that's the one you'll get or not if you go to update, but it just has some trouble with the formatting, reading the screens and so forth. And some of the instructions weren't clear. So anyway, it is documented. By the way, the cable you want to use is just a standard USB AB printer cable. Here they actually have a picture of it right there. So, you want something like that. I don't know if it came with one or not. I just grabbed one from home. Okay, so there is there's the try to get the full name there. I don't have a mouse on this, so let's see. That stupid touchpad thing. There we go. Okay, so there's the firmware update itself. Here's the software. Okay, the important thing, it says in the instructions to disconnect the battery. To disconnect everything except the battery. So the mistake I made, I left the data cable plugged in, and it did like 10% and crashed and basically bricked my inverter until I was able to get in touch with Sungold, and they set me straight on that. But so just leave the battery connected, because that's what's going to be powering the inverter during the upgrade. Pull the data cable out here. It's easier to get to than going back underneath the unit. Turn off the load, turn off the AC load, and turn off the PV panels. Mine are outside, so anyway, it's dark anyway. But and also you need to disconnect the data logger Wi-Fi thing they send with it. So I just anyway, the cable's hanging back there, but it isn't connected. So that's important. You do that, you go ahead and you run the update software. Okay, and COM10, baud rate 9600 baud. You click on, another thing to be sure, if you have more than one of these boxes, check the address. I think it's parameter 30. The instructions say addresses, which is kind of screwy. But anyway, set the address to 1. I think it's parameter 30. Set that to 1. That is in the documentation. That's, clear enough. Then, so we go here, we go to update. We have to select right here, local bin file, select firmware, and the file selector comes up, and you select that, okay? And it remembers that from one run to the next. And then you just click on upgrade. And it takes probably a couple minutes. It's not real fast, but I mean, you can sit there and you'll see the progress update every 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds. Mine got to 7% and then stopped, and then got to 12% and then stopped. It was because I had the Wi-Fi adapter plugged in and because I had the battery data cable plugged in. So anyway, put that in, and it will take a while to do it. And then, when that happens, the display will come alive again. So, by the way, if that update process gets interrupted, it looks like the inverter is bricked. You can't get the display to come on or anything. The way you recover from that is go ahead and you can keep doing the update until it finishes, and then it'll come back to life. Okay, the other point of difficulty here is after you install the update, you have, it comes back up, but it's still apparently running the old version of the firmware, or perhaps something that's burned into the system that's even older than what I came with, because it, it was even worse after I tried to do the update than it was before. Okay, so it does say this in the manual, and I was on the phone with Sungold, and we both forgot to do this, so I went to do it again. I did the update again, and you push and hold these two buttons simultaneously, okay? And apparently you can do this anytime. It's not just like you have to finish the update and do this right away, because I had when we were working on the trying to get that parameter 12 set, he wanted me to reboot it. So you just push and hold those two, and this little box around the flashing % sign there starts flashing, and you just hold it down and it will take and reboot. Or it'll take and go down, and then you have to power everything off and back on, and it comes back to life again. And then you have to reset all of your parameters. So make note of anything that you've changed, because when you do the firmware update itself doesn't reset the parameters, but when you do the reboot that you have to do to make the parameters take effect, that resets all of the parameters to some default. So once you do that, that's about it. Again, check the firmware update before and after. I'll probably go back and put notes, or if anyone can put in the comment what version of firmware they have, I'd be really interested. So if this has been helpful or interesting or whatever, please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to keep up with our progress here at the Heavenly Cabin. I'm just now getting around to posting some of the solar videos. So far it's been mostly just about finishing off this building that we have. So thank you very much for watching, and we hope you'll come back.